political prisoners. A Russian airstrike on a residential area, eastern Ukraine, has killed one person, wounded two others. The attack in the Donetsk region started a fire in a 9-story apartment building. Russia also once again targeted energy infrastructure overnight. Ukrainian President Zelensky says the U.S. is giving Ukraine and Russia a June deadline to reach a peace deal. News and analysis, townhall.com. An Olympic great of yesteryear wipes out on the slopes, and it was a painful thing to watch.
Skier Lindsey Vonn airlifted off the slopes at the Olympics in Italy after crashing Sunday, the crowd gasping. The hospital says she had to have surgery to stabilize a fracture in her left leg. In January, the 41-year-old tore her ACL in her left knee. A U.S. ski team doctor says she will be okay, but it will be a process. Within moments of the start of the race, Vonn lost control, clipping a gate with her right shoulder and pinwheeling down the slope, ending up on her back. Her skis crisscrossed below her, screaming in pain. Teammate Breezy Johnson went on to win gold in the women's downhill after Vonn did it 16 years ago. I'm Julie Walker.
The Melania Trump documentary, Melania, added some 300 movie theaters over the weekend. Its second weekend of release, $2.4 million worth of ticket sales. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning to the John Fredericks Media Network. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It is time for the Morning Rundown, brought to you every day at this time by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here's the Morning Rundown for Monday, February 9th, 2026. Number one, the Super Bowl yesterday, Seattle really blew out New England 29-13. It was not a good game. The Seattle defense dominated, and the surprise MVP was Kenneth Walker III from Arlington, Tennessee. He's a great kid, and we've got more on him. He gained 135 yards and 27 carries. The most. It's the first time NFL running back has been the MVP since Terrell Davis back in 96 or 97. But he dominated the game in the first and second quarter, and that's really what made the difference. In addition to the terrific Seattle defense, the New England Patriots offense was anemic. It was 19-0, like late third quarter, early fourth quarter before they got started. And it was just mop-up time. So, but it was not a good game. It was really kind of a dull, boring game. Number two, Bad Bunny halftime show was a total disaster. All but one line of it was delivered in Spanish. And, the NFL players had no idea who Bad Bunny was. We got some clips on that. Number three, in contrast, the Turning Point USA alternative halftime show, very pro-America with Kid Rock, very successful. Over 10 million concurrent views at the time of broadcast. Total views, 25 million so far. Really, really, really good show. And they're going to do it again next year because the NFL's Roger Goodell, who's made a lot of money for all the owners of the teams, just is tone deaf. And they cut this bad deal with Jay-Z. Jay-Z gets to pick the halftime performers, and he picked Bad Bunny. Number four, the big winner, communications-wise, for the Super Bowl, was our own Sean Farash, the greatest Trump impersonator in the world. He did a 2.5-minute clip about Bad Bunny and Bugs Bunny and Little Bunny Foo-Foo and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It was hilarious. So well done by Sean. 2.5 million views for Sean. And of course, as you know, Sean's here every Wednesday in hour 3, and he kind of did a preview of that with us. So if you want to know what Sean's going to do, just listen to our program Wednesday in hour 3. Number 5, the Nashville Electric Service debacle cover-up continues. Tom Papper joins us at the bottom of the hour. You won't believe what they're doing. They're hiring a lobbyist. They're so bad. And their communications team, they don't have a communications director. They've got a big, big, fancy PR firm that is totally tone deaf. Number 6 in hour 2, the great Mark Pulliam joins us. He of Misrule of Law and retired attorney. Going to talk about ongoing out-of-control left-wing judges, other legal issues, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the Clintons will testify, and a few other things. Number 7, hour 3, Tom Zawistowski and I will talk about Bad Bunny versus Kid Rock, and then the SAVE Act. Of course, he's from Ohio, where they really know football. Number 8, the real Zoran Mamdani has shown up, and he's basically promoting Islam as mayor of New York City. All he's doing is he's like an imam talking about, oh, yes, Islam, we need more immigration from third world blank holes. And that's really, we need to look to Islam, he says. Really. Got to get that guy. I can't believe that he's the mayor of New York, but he is. So there you go. That's the morning rundown for Monday, February 9th, 2026. Brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store. I talk about them all the time. Lenny McGill, CEO and founder of the Glock Store. He always talks about everything Glock. That's why I called it the Glock Store. Have you heard about the latest Glocks, the Gen 6? Lenny McGill has. Lenny tells me the new Gen 6 Glocks have a new optic system, RTF6 texturing, an enlarged beaver tail, flat face trigger guard, undercut, and an integrated thumb rest, also known as the gas pedal. I'm not sure what all those things are, but Lenny knows what they are. Lenny tells me the Gen 6 Glocks are definitely the most refined Glocks ever produced. And as you might expect, the Glock Store has already received their first shipment of Gen 6 G17s, 19s, and 45s. They were literally gone, however, before they even got to the warehouse. That's because Glock Store is letting you pre-order these new Glocks, so you'll be one of the first people to get one. As a thank you for your pre-order, you'll get an extra magazine when you receive your new Gen 6 Glock. Here's what you do. Go to glockstore.com, click on the Gen 6 tab at the top of the website, place your pre-order for the Glock or Glocks of your choice. When they ship your new Glock to the FFL of your choice, or you pick it up at the Glock Store retail showroom here in Nashville, the Glock Store will throw in an extra magazine. This is a limited time offer. So visit glockstore.com today. I promise you'll be glad you did. All right. Sean Farash, he did this a little over 2-minute takeoff on Bad Bunny, and it has over 2.5 million views. I think it's going to get up to 3 million views. It's so good. We have this clip for you right now. We'll play it. He aired this, I think, right during the Super Bowl. Clip number 1, Sean Farash.
This is your favorite president, and this message is for Bad Bunny, or as I call him, the nasty rabbit. El Conejo Desagradable. He's a nasty rabbit and a stupid rabbit. Anytime you see a guy in a dress, that's a very stupid person. So he's a nasty guy, a horrible guy. They call him Bad Bunny. I call him the worst bunny. Think about it. And nobody knows bunnies quite like I do. I get along very well with many of the highly respected bunnies all around the world. I have a tremendous relationship with Bugs Bunny. He said to me, "What's up, Doc?" He said, "Sir, what's up, Doc, sir?" I said, "You don't have to call me Doc. You could call me Donald." But Bugs Bunny is a tremendous bunny. He does a fantastic job on the baseball field. He plays every position. You look at him, but he does a fantastic job. I get along very well with Roger Rabbit. And what happened to him was horrible, They say, "Sir, who framed Roger Rabbit, sir?" I said, "It was probably the fake news and the Democrats. They frame everybody." But he got a raw deal, and so we gave him a pardon. Because what happened to Roger Rabbit was horrible. It was a complete and total witch hunt, so we gave him a pardon. I got along very well with the Easter Bunny, who used to lead Crooked Joe Biden around like a lost puppy. But the Easter Bunny said to me, "Sir, you have the biggest Easter eggs the world has ever seen. They're much bigger than crying Chuck Schumer or Peso Store Obama. You look at Hakeem Jeffries, they have very small Easter eggs, but I have the biggest eggs the world has ever seen. Nobody's ever seen anything like it." I also got along well with Little Bunny Foo-Foo, and I ended the war between Little Bunny Foo-Foo and the field mice. He was bopping them on the head. I said, "You can't do that. You have to stop doing that." or we're going to hit you with tariffs, and we ended that war. You know, you look at it, the peace president. So we get along well with a lot of bunnies, but not the nasty rabbit known as Bad Bunny. He's a horrible person and a stupid person. El Conejo Desagradable, Bad Bunny, nasty rabbit. He hates our country, and he has no talent. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
So when last I looked, that clip had 2.5 million views, but now it has 4.3 million views. And Sean is getting such an audience of the people that liked it. Dana Lash, our friend, the radio host, liked it. Senator Eric Schmidt from Missouri loved it. And, you know, go to his Sean Farash, Sean_Farash, Farash, Sean SHAWN. Just go and tell him you like it. And by the way, you can get the preview of whatever his latest clip is going to be. He's here every Wednesday in Hour 3. When we come back, more. We're going to hear from Zoran Mamdani. He hates America. He loves Islam. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale only $14.98. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's gonna ship absolutely free.
To take advantage of the second annual mega sale, go to mypillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now.
800-583-5795.
Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-583-5795. That's 800-583-5795.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Our phone number, if you want to call in, 615-814-2848. 615-814-2848. Tell us three things. 1, your name. 2, the state in which you reside. And 3, your topic. Be real concise if you can. Also, you can watch us on X Live, Roku TV, YouTube, Apple TV, Fire Stick TV. Lots of places to watch us live and in living color. Before we get to Zoran Mamdani, I want to go back to the debacle of the Super Bowl yesterday. It was a bad game. Now, Seattle played well, but it was a boring game. Boring, deadly boring. But in addition to that, the halftime was just terrible. It was all in Spanish language, just crazy, absolutely crazy. So okay. Leonard wants to weigh in about the Super Bowl and Bad Bunny. Hey, Leonard, what's up?
Oh my goodness, my hermano Blanco Patrick Leahy. What a freaking nightmare last night. My granddaughter, she's 3 years old, and she was just mesmerized by the stupidity. I couldn't even translate what the hell he was saying. He
was speaking in Spanish, Puerto Rican version, a variation of Spanish. But
which is it's easy to understand. Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Mexicans, we all talk very similar. A few words here and there. But, man, the only people that enjoyed it, I don't know, but it wasn't me.
Yeah, I don't think it was you, Leonard. For our listeners, your ancestry is Cuban. I think your parents came over, right, from Cuba?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And you live in Georgia. And
yes,
were you tempted at all to turn off the television from the NBC affiliate and watch the Turning Point USA alternate halftime show?
I was, but I didn't do it. I was just mesmerized. I couldn't pull myself to see how stupid, how low can they go, and they went very low. But anyway, the only thing that I enjoyed was watching my little Puerto Rican girlfriends there with the badonkadonk wiggling around. That was pretty interesting.
So, Leonard, I think what you're saying is it was sort of like it's a little bit like why I watch CBS Sunday Morning. It's sort of, I call it hate watch, sort of, right?
Yeah.
Just to see how stupid they're going to be. Or you might call it car wreck. If there's a car wreck, I got to see how bad it is, right?
Right. But here's my take on what I watched last night. They're celebrating Latin American culture. All great, and I appreciate it. Wrong venue. The Super Bowl is basically Chevrolet, apple pie, and an American football game.
Yeah.
If I want to see a Latin American heritage, Cinco de Mayo, I go to my local restaurant, order me 2 margaritas, my wife drives me home, and I'm great. But the reason, Latin America celebrated, wrong venue. And the reason they're here is because their country sucks. My country sucks. South America sucks. So you want to celebrate? Let's celebrate America.
There you go, Leonard.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for that call. Really appreciate it. By the way,
that's what I wanted to say.
I appreciate it, Leonard. Let's go and see what how the Turning Point USA alternative program did. Let's play this clip right now.
Andrew, I watched your show. It was great. How did you do? Do you have a sense of how many people watched?
Yeah, it was kind of blew our minds actually a little bit, Brian. And we saw at one point across all the different social channels, we saw over 10 million concurrent views. So that was adding up all of Rumble and all of our partners just on the social side. So, and now the numbers keep trickling in. I mean, right now as I'm sitting here, YouTube's numbers keep updating. And so we're trying to put it all together. What I can safely say is that we are now over 20 million viewers across just social. So we haven't even gotten our partner broadcasters, their analytics. As you know, sometimes the ratings take a little while, but that's 20 million viewers. And we don't know how many people were gathered together, 3, 4, 10 in a room watching together. So we're going to try and put a final number on that when we can. What we can safely say is over 20 million Americans tuned in to the All-American halftime show tonight.
I looked at the pregame show. They had Green Day, the most anti-American band you could imagine. Their hits album was called The American Idiot, and the lyrics reflect what he thinks of America and our policies. And then they have at halftime Bad Bunny. I mean, NFL is the #1 league in the world, and they do a lot right. I don't understand why in the year 250 they wouldn't think red, white, and blue, but you did. Lee Brice also released a song that is so appropriate about our culture. Talk about that.
Yeah, he actually wrote that in honor of Charlie. So, he has a ton of hits, and he wanted to play this one. We said, absolutely. You wrote it for Charlie in his honor, so do it. And, I mean, that's what you saw from all of our performers. They did something special to honor the moment, honor how big the stage was, honor Charlie, honor our country. And you saw that from Kid Rock, who said God woke him up in the middle of the night to write another verse to that hit song, Till You Can't. And he used it to, glorify Jesus and lift up his faith and be loud and proud about that. But really, there was no agenda. It was just good music for Americans, for people that wanted to feel proud about their country, wanted to love their country, love their God, and love some great music. So, and that was in contrast to the other guys. That was on full display tonight, Brian.
And you notice, if you had Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert, Lee Brice, and Gabby Barrett all performing tonight. But you mentioned that you went back and looked at Charlie Kirk's tweets. And you noticed that he was always commenting on the halftime show. He's like, why can't they be a little bit more red, white, and blue? Why can't it be a little bit more pro-American when the whole world is watching? And that's what kind of motivated you guys to do something.
Yeah, he was always fixated on this event, this halftime institution. He wanted it to lift up the best ideals of our country as opposed to pulling us down or being, kind of the lowest common denominator. He wanted it to lift us higher. He wanted it to be about our highest ideals. And, because of the success that just it's blown our minds tonight, Brian. So we are going to commit to doing this again next year. We're going to do another halftime show for the country next year. So I'm breaking a little news here, Brian. 20 million at very minimum. I think that number is going to go higher, 40, maybe even 50 in the next 24 hours. So I can tell you that's a shot across the bow. People are paying attention.
Okay, so here's the thing. Next year, they're going to do it again. It'll be bigger and better. Why doesn't Roger Goodell basically fire Jay-Z? Why didn't the NFL say, Jay-Z, we're not doing any more anti-American stuff. We're going to do the Turning Point USA halftime show. That would be the right thing for Roger Goodell to do. Now, interesting enough, Roger Goodell makes $30 million, okay? And let's say they've built the league in a dramatically significant way financially. If you're an NFL owner and you look at your revenues and your expenses, you are not unhappy with Roger Goodell when you look at those things because it's been very successful. However, I think it's time for a course correction, Mr. Goodell. By the way, I have a very distant connection to Goodell. His father was a congressman from the area of Western New York, where I graduated from high school, Jamestown, New York. And I know kind of tangentially some people that were relatives of his. But he's disconnected. And he doesn't understand how badly this halftime show went. Now, Roger, if you're listening, because I know you listen to this program, what you got to do is you got to reevaluate that halftime program. You've got a very successful Turning Point USA event with Kid Rock. What you should do, Roger, You should be on the phone right now to the folks at Turning Point USA and say, hey, we're firing Jay-Z, and he's no longer doing the halftime show. Turning Point USA and Kid Rock, we are doing a partnership to do the halftime show. Look, we're already here at the Tennessee Star and this program. We are partnering with Turning Point USA to do the National Constitution Bee here in Tennessee and maybe around the country, but here for sure. This is a smart thing to do. Also, I think we haven't got all the numbers yet, but in terms of the number of viewers, my guess is they had a lot less viewers last night than they did the previous year. We'll see. I'm looking for the ratings right now. When we come back, we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk with Tom Pappert about the ongoing cover-up debacle of Nashville Electric Service after they had power out for like 2 weeks in the storm here and totally screwed it up. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendment, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
It's simple. No worker should ever be forced to pay money to a union boss just to get or keep a job. That's why hardworking Virginians overwhelmingly support Right to Work and agree that forced unionism is wrong. Unfortunately, Right to Work is under threat from radical state legislators who seek to overturn Right to Work and grant union bosses the power to have workers fired for refusing to pay union dues. Studies show that if they succeed in repealing Virginia's Right to Work law, it would cost the Commonwealth over 200,000 jobs. That's why it's vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to defend Right to Work in Virginia. With the General Assembly now in session, it's vital you make your voice heard today. Go to VirginiaRightToWork.com and demand your legislators and Governor Spanberger oppose forced unionism and protect Right to Work. Defend freedom and Virginia jobs today. Sign your petition at VirginiaRightToWork.com, paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at CreeksidePetHotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal with locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin. D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We welcome to our microphones the winner of the Dow Prize for Best Local Journalism in America, along with yours truly and our executive editor, Christina Botteri, the one, the only, Tom Pappert, our lead political reporter for the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network. Tom, before we get into the ongoing Nashville Electric Service debacle cover-up, which keeps getting worse and worse, just a moment. Did you watch the Super Bowl at all last night? Did you watch Bad Bunny? Did you watch Turning Point USA? What did you do last evening on Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, you know, Michael, for once, I didn't have a party to go to. I was just sitting at home watching the Super Bowl. And so I wasn't paying all that close attention because, as you said, it was a fairly boring game. But when the Super Bowl halftime show started, I muted the television and immediately turned on the Turning Point USA halftime show. I genuinely mean that. I have no idea what Bad Bunny did. I gather there was some bad language. There might have been some sexual themes. I genuinely don't know. I watched Kid Rock, and I am proud of my decision.
Yeah, and that show is pretty darn good. We'll see. I mean, do you think Roger Goodell will get a clue? Do you think he will do, as I suggested, cancel the contract with Jay-Z, who he gave, since 2019, he's given Jay-Z the right to pick the lead performer at the Super Bowl. Tone deaf, beyond tone deaf. Do you think he'll get a clue, cancel the contract with Jay-Z, and sign a contract with Turning Point USA and Kid Rock to produce next year's halftime show?
Well, I do think that the era of Jay-Z is coming to an end. I mean, everybody should remember this is the guy who was like campaigning with Hillary Clinton, and then a year or two later, they put him in charge of the Super Bowl halftime show. So if Goodell wants to keep his hardcore football fans, the people who are going to tune in, even if it's Bad Bunny, into the next generation, well, then he's got to do something, whether that's admit total defeat and surrender to TPUSA and Kid Rock, or whether that's maybe just moderate 10%. Something has to change, and I'm the evidence, Michael. I'm 31. I am the first generation of non-football viewers in my family, and it's because in my entire adult life, it's gone from Colin Kaepernick to Bad Bunny. The NFL, to my generation, is a woke performance art initiative, not a football game.
Yeah, how can a guy be so good at growing the revenues of a sport and so bad at understanding how he is disconnecting it from mainstream America?
I think that it's because he's so disconnected. He thinks this is mainstream America. I mean, there was a time during the Obama years where it seemed as though Jay-Z was one of the cultural pillars of our country. But the country has moved on. We've elected President Donald Trump twice since then. And I don't think that the NFL and Goodell understands that the average middle American is more aligned with President Donald Trump than whatever brand of toxic anti-American politics, because that was a political show. Anybody who says otherwise is fooling themselves. Whatever toxic brand of politics was on display last night.
You know, and they have not released the ratings, but I would be surprised if they hit the numbers they expected for two reasons. Number one, the game was dreadfully dull. I mean, it really wasn't even a game. Seattle's defense totally smothered the New England Patriots. I mean, it was 19-0 before, I think, early fourth quarter. before the Patriots got on the board, and it was kind of garbage time. It just didn't. The Patriots just weren't in the same league, if you will, as the Seattle Seahawks. By the way, did you see that the MVP? I keep saying that Tennessee is the greatest state in the union. More evidence of that. The MVP of the Super Bowl, Kenneth Walker III, is from Arlington, Tennessee. Do you have a clip of him? Okay, let's just see. This will tell you. He dominated the first half because he was such a great runner. Had those big long runs. He's like 5'9.5", which I can relate to. I like that side. 210 and solid muscle, and he's got this interesting running style, doesn't he? Where he kind of waits to see what happens, and then boom, he goes out real fast. But I like the kid a lot. He's from Memphis. He went to Arlington High School, then went to Wake Forest, where apparently he learned that they had this slow developing style. And then he spent a year at Michigan State, and this is his fourth year with the Seahawks. Listen to what he said when he had 27 carries for 135 yards, the first time since 96 or 7 that a running back was named MVP of the Super Bowl. Here's what he had to say after the Super Bowl.
First and foremost, I want to thank God for this, blessing to be here. Also, I want to thank my brothers. This don't happen without them. We went through a lot of adversity this season, but we came together and we.
Nice guy, huh? A very Tennessee guy.
What a nice, normal thing to say, especially in 2026 when he could have gone out and condemned a political candidate and everybody would have accepted it.
Well, the other thing I learned this, apparently when he was in high school, he had a blood clot problem. And the doctors advised him to quit football. And his parents said, no, we're not doing. And they went out and they found a particular kind of medication that he's still on for blood clots. But, and the guy was, if you want to just look at from a football perspective, Kenneth L. Walker III was the only interesting offensive part of the first half of that game. Just watching the way he runs, right? He was dynamic in his run. The first play of the game, he gained like 10 yards. Then he broke a 30-yard run and a 29-yard run, and they both developed the same way. He'd come out, wait, slow. You think he's going to get caught in the back, and then zoom. He went. It was that was the only offensive excitement that I saw in the game, Tom.
Well, I think you're right, and it is interesting how much kind of football has changed. I'll be honest, I didn't watch any of the season this year. My teams got eliminated fairly early by Thanksgiving. I had nobody left to watch. But the game last night, it was boring. If you're like me and you were tuning in for your first football game of the season, really, then you were probably disappointed and a little bit confused at maybe what happened to the Patriots over the last few years and why there was only really one. Well, we now know he was the MVP on the other team. So I think that in addition to the sheer loss of entertainment value through decisions like Jay-Z and Bad Bunny, all of the rules that they're adding to the NFL, it's not working, and it's not going to make it into another couple generations if they're not careful.
That's a very good point. So we'll see. Anyways, congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. They did great. And Kenneth Walker, Tennessean, right? I don't know if he still lives in Tennessee, but if he's smart, he has a off-season home here because of the state income taxes. By the way, I do have to mention this on the taxes side. So the game was held in Santa Clara, California, at the Levi Strauss Stadium. Do you realize that every performer has to pay a huge 13.5% marginal income tax to the state of California? Did you see that?
Wow. So in other words, Gavin Newsom benefited from Bad Bunny last night.
The other thing about that, this is why apparently the Super Bowl will be held in 28 or 29 here in Nashville. No state income tax here, right? So, that's a big reason to host it here. Anyways, it was interesting. We'll see how my prediction is that the TV ratings will be way down. It's a long talk there about the Super Bowl. Let's get back to, in the remainder of this segment and in our next segment, let's talk about the weird cover-up going on with the Nashville Electric Service. Now, you found out that A, they're not answering our questions, and B, they've got a big communications firm, Finn Partners, instead of a real person handling the communications. And then they've hired a lobbyist. Let's start with, what have you asked them, and what have they not said?
Well, Michael, it's been quite the experience with NES. It all started, of course, when we discovered that there was a apparent $7 million discrepancy. They spent $7 million less on tree trimming and vegetation management in 2024 than they had apparently budgeted. And we asked them, how come you cut spending by $7 million? They said they would get back to us. They held a press conference where they failed to answer the question, but made the absurd claim that they actually increased spending in contradiction of their own report. Since then, they've told us that it's all going to come out in an after-action report. And this morning, I think they held a press conference, or rather a board meeting early this morning, shortly before our show started here, where they discussed exactly what this is going to look like. But so we want to know what this after-action report will be, when it will be released, if it's going to be public, or if they're just going to maybe pay their consultants to make an advertisement over it. We've also asked for a line item budget reconciliation of their spending and budgeting on tree trimming over the past 5 years. Remember, they claim that they've been increasing over the past 5 years. Well, we should see those numbers. We want to know, back to that $7 million, exactly where it went, what it was doing, if not trimming trees. And then, of course, I want to know about this contract with Finn Partners. The mayor of Nashville said that they were terrible at communicating during this crisis. Well, apparently this is reported. I've yet to see the documents myself yet, but there's some reports that this contract with Finn Partners, the PR agency that the NES pays, is supposedly worth $10 million, Michael. And yet they cannot...
Hold it. Where'd you see that?
It's a report from, it's floating around on social media, and it appears to be images of a Freedom of Information Act request that they sent copies of the contract to a former reporter as a result. And so I've sent emails to NES asking for that contract. I've sent it to the person who allegedly authored it, asking them to confirm they authored it, and we've of course sent an email to the email address that is apparently captured by Finn Partners, asking for a full explanation.
When we come back, more of the cover-up of the Nashville Electric Service debacle. Instead of solving the problem, they're hiring a lobbyist, allegedly. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to HealthyCell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's HealthyCell.com. HealthyCell.com.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
These illegal skill games that keep popping up, fights break out, they're illegal, we got drugs, we got gangs, they're all over the place. How do you get illegal slot machines in convenience stores when Governor Youngkin, you vetoed it, and no referendum, nobody passed it? How are they still here?
At the end of the day, it is local Commonwealth's attorneys that have to bring the cases against the establishments and to get them out. And so, yes, I vetoed bills. The high court has said that they can't be there. And on top of that, our attorney general has done a full investigation. And we go back to our Commonwealth's attorneys in so many jurisdictions refuse to enforce the law. That's the bottom line. They protect the criminals at the expense of the victims. And that's why, again, elections matter. We have got to elect prosecutors who will put people in jail.
This ad paid for by Churchill Downs. What happens in Virginia doesn't stay in Virginia. It influences policy and policymakers nationwide. The VirginiaStar.com shines a light on the issues in VA that become issues for the USA, with insightful commentary that gets to the fact of the matter. The VirginiaStar.com is your source of wisdom and truth, locally, statewide, and nationally. Log on today and every day. The VirginiaStar.com. The VirginiaStar.com.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We're talking with our lead political reporter, Tom Pappert. Tom, you just sent me the goods here on this. And this was a public records request from I think a former journalist with WKRN, who's now independent. And interesting that this was a public records request about the communications contract that National Electric Service has with a company called Finn, F-I-N-N Partners. That's the last name of the two brothers that run it. It's a big, big, big international firm, formerly DVL Siegenthaler here, big PR firm. Siegenthaler as in John Siegenthaler, the former head of the Tennessean. Now, this was a public records request sent in September of 2024. So this guy has been at this for some time. And they have a contract between NES and Finn Partners for communications that's $10 million, not to exceed $10 million. Now, it's a 3-year contract. But that's just for the communication side of things. That's kind of bizarre because let's make a contrast here. We deal with Metro Nashville Police Department all the time. They have a director of communications who's very good. Don Aaron, been there like 25 years. He makes maybe $200,000 a year, something like that. And he has a staffer. Where does it come out with $3 million a year for bad communication services?
Well, it is very strange. I mean, Michael, they were criticized by the Democrat mayor of Nashville for their poor communication during Winter Storm Fern. That's bad when you have the Democrat. The entire board was appointed by the mayor of Nashville, the past 3 mayors. And yet the current mayor of Nashville says he's lost faith in their communication ability. Not only that, but I couldn't figure out exactly what justified this output in terms of past content. If you look over the past few years, all I could find was one 30-second or so video created by Finn Partners that was promoting linemen, and I think specifically African-American linemen, trying to get them to sign up for jobs at NES. So what exactly was justifying this $3 million purchase? And by the way, Finn Partners seems to be a go-to firm for Democrats. It's also received similar contracts from the city of Nashville, Metro Nashville. So what justified this firm specifically? And then what were they doing to justify spending so much of your customers' dollars on them?
Yeah, and the guy who's the main partner at Finn Partners handling this is a guy named Ronald Roberts. If you look to their website in 2021, right after the George Floyd riots, he organized an anti-racism committee, right? And he's really big into DEI. But not so much into communicating answers to questions. An example. So when we get a response from them, it's not from actually a named individual. We call Metro Nashville Police Department. There's Don Aaron. He tells us it's his name. He's the guy in charge of communications. We hear from him. We then have asked them, okay, supposedly your budget for fiscal year 26 began July 1st, 2025, will end June 30th, 2026. Your CEO said, well, we're spending $21 million on tree trimming. And we simply said, okay, really? We got counter information from your reporting that in November, Tom, they got a report, hey, we're way behind in tree trimming. We simply asked them a very simple question. The question that you posed was, what is your budget for the first 6 months of fiscal year 26, which would take us to the end of December of 2025. How much did you actually spend? What did they answer you when you asked that question?
Well, Michael, they promised that now that Winter Storm Fern is over, we are working on an after-action report which will contain all of the answers to questions being asked about the NES storm response, and we will get back to you when we have that answer. In other words, they gave me their canned response that they've used for their past several emails. Ironically, pretty much every inquiry I've sent has gotten a response similar to that, except for the one that I posed at 8 a.m. this morning, which asked a few new questions, including, I want to see the reports for the past 5 years. CEO Teresa Broyles-Applin repeatedly and specifically said their budget for tree trimming expenses increased every year for the past 5 years, but apparently the 2024 report shows their spending did not. So I want 26, but I also want to go back 5 years, and I want to see if this is a chronic problem where they budget one number for tree trimming and then spend something much lower.
Did they respond to you yet?
Not even a form letter, Michael. The just complete silence this morning.
Do they actually have a name attached to the response?
Oh, no.
They do
no,
not.
I've yet to receive a named response.
I wonder if it's even AI. Do they have an AI response? Let me also, one other thing. We'll find out shortly. Their response, instead of fixing the tree trimming problem, right, and having accountability by firing the CEO and getting rid of all the board members who know nothing about utilities, you know what they're doing? They're hiring a lobbyist because they're afraid the Tennessee General Assembly is going to basically change the law and end up firing the CEO and the board members. We don't know who it is, but how much money do you think they're spending on that?
Well, when $3 million a year creates like one commercial and a couple really bad emails, I would certainly expect whoever this lobbyist is to be paid quite well. I'm thinking early retirement well.
Tom Pappard, thanks so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Michael.
Up next, the one, the only all-star panelist, Mark Pulliam, author of Misrule of Law, retired attorney, one of the leading legal experts in the country. Back after this.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Gempapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
WJFN, W224EB, 92.7 FM Chester, W299DB, 107.7 Bonaire, 100.5 FM Goochland, and WJFB.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. A Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator takes the fifth. Ghislaine Maxwell declining to answer a House committee's questions about the late convicted sex offender's dealings. Maxwell appeared this morning before House lawmakers via video link from a Texas prison. The Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champs for the second time in franchise history, 29-13 win over the New England Patriots, Super Bowl 60. But it wasn't necessarily the action on the field that caught President Trump's attention. He has something to say about the halftime show as well as about the Winter Olympics.
The president first took aim at Americans competing at the Olympics, saying one of the athletes should have stayed home after freestyle skier Hunter Hess said that wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. The president called him a real loser. And then Donald Trump complained about Super Bowl halftime performer Bad Bunny. He wrote online that the Puerto Rican singer's show was terrible and was an affront to the greatness of America. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi's governing Conservative Party has secured a 2/3 supermajority in the Japanese parliament. Latest election, the BBC's Shaima Halil is in Tokyo.
352 seats out of 465, way more than they were hoping for. They continued with their coalition with the Innovation Party. So together, they have this sweeping majority now in parliament, and that gives Japan much needed political stability, and it gives Sanai Takaichi the mandate that she was hoping for, the mandate that she called the snap election in the depths of winter for, and that essentially gives her the power to push through with her agenda.
On Wall Street, the Dow is up 66 points, the Nasdaq better by 195 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven you can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted, it works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 844-94-BIBLE. That's 844-94-BIBLE. 844-94-BIBLE.
A Norwegian diplomat gets caught up in the Epstein scandal.
A Norwegian ambassador has resigned as she faces scrutiny over her contacts with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The Foreign Ministry announced Mona Juul's resignation on Sunday evening, days after she was suspended as Norway's ambassador to Jordan. That follows reports that Epstein left the children of Juul and her husband $10 million in a will drawn up shortly before his death by suicide in a New York prison in 2019. Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide said Juul's decision was correct and necessary. He added that her contact with a convicted sex offender showed a serious lapse in judgment, adding that the case makes it difficult to restore the trust that the role requires. A ministry investigation into Juul's knowledge of and contact with Epstein continues. I'm Lawrence Brooks.
Find more information, news, and analysis at townhall.com. President Trump throws his support behind the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act.
Posting on Truth Social, President Trump writes, quote, "America's elections are rigged, stolen, and a laughingstock all over the world. We're either going to fix them or we won't have a country any longer." He called on Republicans to fight for the Save America Act. He continued, quote, "All voters must show voter ID identification. All voters must show proof of United States citizenship to register for voting." President Trump concluded by posting that there should be, quote, "no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travel." John Scott reporting.
A trial focusing on whether Meta misrepresented the safety of its platforms when it comes to the dangers of child sexual exploitation set to start today in New Mexico. Opening statements in the trial scheduled for later today. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We welcome to our microphones here in studio one of the leading legal experts in the country, author of the Misrule of Law blog, retired attorney, good friend. I keep trying to drag him back into the actual practice of the law. The one, the only Mark Pulliam.
Good morning.
You find that amusing, don't you? Dragging him back.
Yeah.
I try to get out and they drag me back.
I have nightmares even thinking about it.
Why do you have nightmares thinking about it? Because it was the actual practice of law. You specialize in employment law, right? Was very stressful, I guess.
Well, it's particularly in this day and age in the private practice, it has become very tedious, and the economics of the legal profession have got, they dwell on, how many hours you've billed, and, the firms are trying to make as much money as possible. They keep jacking up the rates. And so it's, people watch these celebrity TV shows, whatever, and they think practicing law is glamorous. For the most part, it's not.
It's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Filling out those 6-minute time. You got to allocate every 6 minutes of your time, right?
1/10 of an hour.
Yeah. That would drive me nuts. Totally nuts. The other thing that drives me nuts is all of these federal trial court judges nominated by Barack Obama and Joe Biden who hate America. And you've got the latest example of that right now.
Well, every week it's a new episode of this is like America's Got Talent, except we have 700 federal district court judges, at least the ones appointed by Democrats, Biden, Obama, or Clinton, auditioning for who can issue the most outlandish, far-fetched anti-Trump rant. And they know that these rulings are not going to stick, but they're doing it to get some attention, because just like practicing law can be a drudgery, being a district court judge is drudgery, and it's drudgery that nobody really pays attention to. So if you want to get your name in the papers, you issue some outlandish decision, and for a week you're a celebrity. Eventually the ruling is going to get overturned.
Now, explain that, though, because my theory is that there are so many trial court judges appointed by Obama and Biden who hate America and are using their particular knowledge of the legal process to try and be part of the destruction of America.
Well, they may. I think the younger ones, the ones that have been appointed by Biden in particular, I think are trying to create a record of how ideologically zealous they are to the left, so that if and when, God forbid, we get a Democrat in the White House, they will certainly be on a list of to be elevated to the Court of Appeal, or they have to be dreaming about someday the Supreme Court. And so I think part of this, it's a performative activism more than I think any genuine anti-American hatred. They're angling to get the attention. You know, that's certainly the case for the younger ones. Now, I have two examples from last week. One I give the winner and one is the runner-up. So the winner actually is a Clinton appointee, 78 years old, down there in San Antonio. And so he can't be angling to get put on the Fifth Circuit. That's never going to happen. In his case, I think he's just one of these people who wants attention. And earlier in his career, he would write these decisions that had a bunch of rock and roll lyrics in it or names of movies or whatever, things that are just calculated to attract attention. And it's like, hey, look at me, which is not a good quality for a judge. You know, judges are supposed to be judicious. But in any event, we all remember this 5-year-old kid in Minneapolis who supposedly was kidnapped by ICE. Well, in fact, he was abandoned by his illegal alien father, and ICE had to take him into custody to keep him from freezing to death out there on the sidewalk. Well, they both ended up, the father and the son, in a detention facility in Texas, and because of the restrictions that the Supreme Court has imposed recently, the only judge with jurisdiction over illegal aliens once they're in custody for habeas purposes is the judge where they're located.
So explain for habeas purposes.
Okay, so habeas corpus is a procedure that exists under federal law that a federal judge can order the release of a person. So it's, I don't know what the Latin means, but
habeas
free
corpus,
the body or something.
Yeah, produce the body.
Produce the body.
Right.
And so these
live body,
you know, this illegal alien and his son were in this detention facility, and some do-gooder group, funded no doubt by these billionaire oligarchs,
right,
hired the lawyers and brought an action. It ended up in Judge Fred Beery's.
Beery, B-I-E-R-Y. Right?
Yeah. And he issued a 3-page decision, got some attention because it was so silly. He doesn't evaluate the facts of the case. He doesn't have any citations to any applicable law. It just contains his opinions. And in his opinion, Trump's immigration strategy is ill-conceived and incompetently implemented. He claims...
Is that he's not citing a statute.
No.
He's asserting an opinion based upon some, press reports.
What's even worse is he ignores the statute. So he says that this is a violation of the Constitution because you did not have a judicial warrant to arrest these people. Well, the applicable statute, the Immigration and Naturalization Act, specifically authorizes administrative warrants.
Let me just stop for a moment, because people may not understand the difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant. A judicial warrant is issued by a federal district court judge in immigration. An administrative warrant is administered by an immigration judge, which is not an Article III judge confirmed by the Senate. It's really an employee of the Department of Justice, right, that handles immigration issues. But to add to that, just related to that, over the weekend, Friday, you saw this, the Court of Appeals in Texas ruled that it is entirely legal to keep an illegal alien detained based upon an immigration warrant from an immigration judge,
without having the ability to bond out.
Exactly.
So this is a misconception that illegal aliens are just like ordinary citizens and they're entitled to the full panoply of due process, search warrants, the whole business. They don't, and they can't. It would be impossible.
To quote Alan Dershowitz, due process, which is the Fifth Amendment, and then incorporated in the 14th Amendment, due process is the process that is due you.
Yeah.
And the process due an American citizen is very different than a process due an illegal alien.
Yep. So anyway, he ignores all of that. He, sympathizes with a 5-year-old, writes this decision that doesn't cite the law, ignores the law, and then he ends it with, over his signature block, he says, with a judicial finger in the constitutional dike, like
God.
he's going to save the world. This was such a ridiculous ruling. Senator Mike Lee from Utah, his initial reaction is, I'm going to include his name in the list of judges that I'm going to try to get impeached.
Yeah.
Chad Mazzell, the former chief of staff for Pam Bondi, said, I honestly thought it was a fake. Guy Benson, who's a pretty balanced guy on Fox News, said the order was lawless, overwrought, resistance slop.
Who's the runner-up in the rogue judges?
Okay, so in the rogue judges, we have Ana Reyes, appointed by Biden in 2023, born in Uruguay. She was the first Latina and the first openly LGBTQ person to serve as a district judge in the District of Columbia. She ruled last week that the decision of Secretary Kristi Noem to remove TPS, temporary status for Haitians, had to be reversed. The 350,000 Haitians have to stay in the United States.
That's just a stupid executive order. It's not a law.
Well, and it's a temporary status.
Temporary. When we come back, the Clintons caved. Back with Mark Pulliam after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
1775 Coffee is giving away free starter kits. Try the dark or medium roast coffee with longevity blend, an infused blend with anti-aging supplements clinically proven to reduce biological age. When you purchase the first 2 bags, you'll receive a free 1775 starter kit, including a third 16-ounce bag of coffee, a matte black tumbler, a frother, a gold scoop, or a reusable K-cup filter. Just order now at 1775coffee.com/Godzilla and claim your free 1775 starter kit while supplies last.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
They're back. The Clintons are back, sort of. Here in studio, our all-star panelist, good friend, one of the leading legal experts in the country, author of Misrule of Law, retired attorney, the one, the only Mark Pulliam. Okay, so what's the deal with the Clintons and their testimony before the House Oversight Committee on all things Epstein?
Well, so the headline here is what difference a House committee vote makes. Last week we talked about how the House Oversight Committee, chaired by James Comer, had voted to hold the Clintons in contempt, and it was going to go to the full House to see if they would hold him in contempt. And contempt of Congress is a crime, and if Congress voted to hold somebody in contempt, it could be turned over to the DOJ for prosecution. Now, the Clintons got a subpoena to appear before Comer's committee to testify about what they knew about Jeffrey Epstein, what did they know and when did they know it in the Watergate terms. And because they're the Clintons, they thought, nobody can touch us, nothing will happen, we can just thumb our nose at them and get away with it because, after all, we're the Clintons. Well, they got a rude surprise when not only did the Republicans on the House committee vote to hold them in contempt, many Democrats did also.
Yeah, what's behind that? Why because Democrats in the House and in the Senate, with the exception of John Fetterman, are just, terminally have a terminal case of Trump derangement syndrome. And they hate everything that's Trump.
Well, but say they made their bed with Epstein, and now they have to lie in it. So they have created this image that Jeffrey Epstein is the ultimate boogeyman. He's an evil actor, and anybody that had anything to do with him is, in league with the devil. Well, it turns out Bill Clinton was all over Epstein's plane and so forth.
He's got that hot tub picture
with
a young chick.
So the optics for the
and basically we don't even. Let me just say. It was a picture of him, in the water. Wasn't wearing anything above the waist. Who knows what he was wearing below the waist?
And given his track record with Monica Lewinsky in the Oval Office, people can just let their imaginations run wild.
Really?
So the truth is that I think the Democrats realized that the optics to the public of trying to protect Clinton from oversight regarding Jeffrey Epstein would make it look like they're covering up complicity with Jeffrey Epstein. So that's part of it. Also, you think about it, Bill Clinton hasn't been in the White House for a quarter century. And even when he was in the White House, the modern day progressives are thinking, what exactly did he stand for? It was, we had ruinous trade deals with when he was president, sex with White House interns, lying under oath, being disbarred.
Got disbarred.
Being impeached.
By the way, I don't know. This is kind of an odd question. Could a disbarred attorney be nominated to the Supreme Court?
I don't think you have to be an attorney to admit
I think
practice.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
But
and then
he's not going to be in the Supreme Court.
And then Hillary, she never was anything. So you could say that Bill Clinton was a has-been. Hillary was a never was and never will be.
Well, she was a United States senator. She got that because she was the wife
And in the last decade, all she's been is a bitter, divisive loser.
These
younger progressives, their idea is we're going to get rid of that stuff. We're here. We're the ones in charge.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result of this, the Clintons completely caved and will appear for a transcribed, filmed deposition, not just one of these show trials, these hearings where everybody gets 2 minutes.
5 minutes to yakety yak.
Yeah. So this is going to be a real full-on, under oath deposition, February 26 for Hillary and February 27 for Bill Clinton. And
so in a deposition, so the difference would be, it's not a public hearing. It's a closed deposition. You've done a lot of depositions. Tell everybody the difference between a hearing and a deposition.
Well, the lawyer asking the questions gets to drill down. This is how Bill Clinton got into trouble back with Lewinsky, was in a deposition by one of the lawyers working for Ken Starr as part of the Whitewater investigation. He was asked specific questions about, and that's when he said, I did not have sex with that woman, and that's
depends what the definition of it is.
Right, and that was. So
that's why he got disbarred ultimately.
That's lying under oath. That's perjury. That's what he forfeited his law license. That was the disgrace. Wasn't that he had sex with Monica Lewinsky, but that he lied about it at his deposition. So depositions can be very powerful tools because you can ask very detailed questions. You can press for answers. If
you don't have just 5 minutes.
You don't have 5 minutes.
Well, and I think now this is not. We'll get into the weeds here a little bit. If this were a civil procedure in a trial or even criminal trial, there would be some rules about the deposition. I mean, typically, I think it's like you can get 7 hours, right? And it's transcribed. But this is a hearing. Have they agreed on how long it can be?
I don't know that. The fact that they have Hillary scheduled for one day and Bill Clinton for the next day, it may be that they're going to be limited to a day's worth, however many hours.
Which is a typical, under the federal rules of civil procedure, unless you get leave from the judge, you're limited to 1 day and 7 hours. But it's very different than, a hearing where you got, 20 Democrats in 5 minutes, and the Democrat will a filibuster for 4 of those minutes and then, have a stupid question for the witness. This will be actually an attorney.
Yeah.
Who, now they'll be represented by attorneys, but they'll ask things like, now, Bill, this picture that has you naked halfway up with a young woman right next to you. What was going on there, Mr. President?
Yeah. And staff will have gone through all of these Epstein files and all of the instances in which Clinton's name comes up, the photographs, etc. And instead of wasting a lot of time discovering things that you already know, they're going to zero in on the things that are going to be most damaging. So this is why he didn't want to have his deposition taken. He offered, in lieu of a deposition, to have a conversation with Comer and the ranking Democratic member on the committee with no transcript.
Yeah.
And Comer says, no, you are a proven liar, and I am not going to waste my time taking your word for something. There has to be a transcript. So I think this is probably humiliating for Bill Clinton at age 79 to have to live up to maybe unsavory things he did. Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein Island was like the ultimate fantasy for rich, perverted men or powerful men. Even Prince Andrew. That he's been thrown out of the royal family practically because he consorted with Epstein in a way that was very
So Bill Clinton's going to be in it, and this will be videotaped. And that videotape will be made public. And, I mean, he is very good at parsing questions. But can you imagine if you are prepping Bill Clinton right now to respond? I mean, and Bill, you know what his problem is? Bill Clinton is the kind of guy who lies when the truth would do. Right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what is that prep going to be like?
And he's not as sharp as he once was. And however frosty his marriage is with Hillary now, this, they're both, I think grooming themselves for their legacy, for history, and this is just one more thing that's going to besmirch the name of both Bill and Hillary Clinton.
I think so. Do you expect any big revelations to come out of this?
Well,
there might be, I think.
Just before I came on the air with you, that Giselle Maxwell apparently took the fifth. In her deposition. Like, how could somebody who's already been convicted of a crime involving pimping for Jeffrey Epstein say that she would be subjecting herself to incrimination?
Well, I can't tell you how. There's more stuff to be charged, she might think.
So the worst thing that could happen for Bill Clinton isn't whatever his answer might be on the merits. It would be taking the fifth.
Will he take the fifth?
Well, who knows what is out there, and if he thinks that the consequences would be worse.
What's the over-under on whether he takes the Fifth Amendment?
I'm not a betting man. So
I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
Because if you're 79-year-old Bill Clinton, and he's not in great health. He looks awful.
Yeah.
Actually.
Ate too much McDonald's.
Well, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever he did. I'm thinking, I don't need this aggravation, right? I'm guessing he takes the fifth.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot.
Yeah. And
but you're right about this. He's not as sharp as he once was.
No.
He's kind of like a pale reflection.
He was the boy wonder from Arkansas.
And he kind of burned it all up.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, child mutilators are in trouble. Back after this.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
For years, the Europeans have underestimated President Trump time after time. But at every turn, he's been right. On energy, on NATO, on foreign free riding. It's time they pay up. That's why he's cracking down on foreign countries that don't pay their fair share for American medicines. Renegotiating trade deals for the prescription drugs we invent. President Trump is ending the foreign freeloading, making Europe pay their fair share.
Paid for by Americans for Limited Government.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, our very good friend, all-star panelist, Mark Pulliam, author of Misrule of Law blog. By the way, you get a lot of traction for your stories that you've been putting out of late, don't you?
I like to think so. It's a hobby. I don't try to monetize it, but you write so people will read. So when you find out people are paying attention, it's gratifying.
So apparently the child mutilators are in trouble. Tell us about this.
Well, so you have referred to the fact that I was a employment lawyer for 30 years in California. With the law is not favorable to employers, and so you end up dealing with a lot of sleazy plaintiffs lawyers who make extortionate demands, and you end up defending frivolous lawsuits and whatnot. And so you develop a pretty unfavorable attitude of the civil justice system. And I have to say, one of the things I did while I was practicing law was I was an outspoken advocate for tort reform, civil justice reform. But in this particular instance, I am cheering for the trial lawyers. So
what?
I am. So what happened last week is the first of what I expect and hope will be many cases. A jury in New York decided a case involving a minor who was subjected to surgical treatment for gender dysphoria, had a radical double mastectomy.
A 16-year-old.
At 16.
This, by the way, the jury was in Westchester County, New York, which is a very affluent suburb of New York City.
Yeah.
And not exactly a bastion of conservative politics.
Well, and her case was, I was a troubled teenager. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. My parents were divorced, had a bitter divorce, and I wasn't well. I was probably mentally ill. And I, at age 15, decided, I was born in the wrong body. This is a familiar phenomenon.
They've got this false little meme running around. Oh, I was born in the wrong body.
Yeah.
And these poor kids.
And so, adolescence is difficult, and it's always been difficult, always will be difficult. It used to be, parents would guide their children through this. But then, under President Obama is where this transgender delusion really took off, and it became a thing. And so we suddenly started hearing about gender-affirming care and chest binders and puberty blockers, etc. So of course, the therapeutic community swooped in to take advantage of this opportunity. And so you had many psychologists telling parents that you would be better off with a child that has changed their sex rather than having somebody who commits suicide with their biological.
It's better to have a live child who's had this terrible surgery to change their gender as opposed to a dead child. They've been creating this myth that all these kids are going to kill themselves if they don't get certain parts of their anatomy chopped off.
So she went in front of a jury, told this horrific story, where only 11 months after her social transition began, she received a double mastectomy at the age of 16, ultimately changed her mind and told the jury what a horrible ordeal this has been. They gave her $2 million, which is a lot of money in a medical malpractice case because many states limit the amount of damages you can get in a medical malpractice case. Now, the punchline of this is that there are approximately 3,700 American adolescents aged 12 to 18 who underwent surgical interventions due to gender dysphoria diagnosis from 2016 to 2020.
3,700.
And that's just surgery, and that's just during that 4-year period. If you include hormone treatments, which could have the effect of permanently altering your voice, your appearance, in many cases chemically sterilizing you, we could be talking about 10,000 or more potential plaintiffs, all of whom will have the opportunity, and I would assume a lot of these people change their minds, a great percentage of them change their minds. And so all across the country, we're going to see a tidal wave of litigation. And what makes it even more likely that there's going to be a tidal wave of litigation is that some of the medical organizations have come to their senses and have realized this is going to be as embarrassing as the embrace of eugenics was, let's say, 100 years ago, that it will be considered a horrible, grotesque mistake. So the American Society of Plastic Surgeons has come out and said, you know what, doing these kinds of procedures on minors is not a good idea. The evidence doesn't support it. And incredibly, the American Medical Association has come out also and saying they're beginning to backtrack, which leaves these practitioners who, and it's not a huge amount of doctors, but there were, in Vanderbilt, they had a center where the same group of doctors were doing a lot of these operations. Well, Vanderbilt better put their carrier on notice because they are going to start getting sued by these patients who've changed their mind and are going to bring the horrific after effects of this medical treatment to court and show it to a jury. So the floodgates have opened, and I'd say the child mutilation pipeline has ended.
Well, now, a couple things on this. We don't know if that trial court decision in Westchester County will be appealed. I think, though, if they do appeal, I would be surprised if they won on appeal, because I think you're right. I think the floodgates are open. And if you think about it for a moment, when you look at these cases, right, of medical malpractice, what's the standard they look for? They look for professional standards of conduct. Now, you just heard the plastic surgeon said, oh, no. If you're under the age of 19, you can't have this done. American Medical Association, which has been a far-left operation, they're stepping back from it as well. But I do think, and particularly those university hospitals that, quote, led the way on this are in big trouble. Vanderbilt led the way on it. Remember the famous a clip from the woman who headed up that group that Matt Walsh picked up on? Oh, this is very profitable for the business.
And that's what inspired the Tennessee law, which our great attorney general successfully defended in the Supreme Court. So you think about it, you got all of the things that plaintiff lawyers look for. A sexy issue, sympathetic plaintiffs, a deep pocket. And then once you get one verdict, a couple of verdicts, then I think the defendants realize we're not going to win these cases.
And they settle.
They settle them, and so it's going to be a significant wealth transfer from these medical providers to this group of plaintiffs. And more importantly, it's going to dry up. Nobody is going to do these procedures anymore. And I'd say this is one of the things that the civil justice system can do is to identify wrongdoers who have inflicted harm and to compensate them. And I would say hoorah for the trial lawyers in this case.
In Vanderbilt, they shut down this center like a year ago, I think. But still, they did an awful lot of procedures, from what I can tell. And the other sort of these academic institutions, UCLA did a lot of this stuff out in California. And I think in Boston, I think Boston Brigham's Hospital or some others like that did that. It's the blue cities.
Yeah, this is an ignominious chapter in for the medical profession, and I think it's one that they want to turn the page on and pretend it didn't happen.
Ignominious. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
that's good. It is pretty ignominious.
Yes, it is. And these doctors who did these things, I think, are going to be basically hanging their head in shame.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting how people who get certified at these elite schools sometimes, they get off track. There's not, you know what they need? They need a grandmother or grandfather just to slap them upside the head a little bit and say, what are you thinking? You know?
And this is part of why DEI is so dangerous in medical education, that they kind of encourage this type of social engineering and whatnot. So I'm very happy that this is happening. I can remember when Obama unveiled the Dear Colleagues letter requiring schools to have co-educational bathrooms and locker rooms and whatnot. I can remember thinking, what happened? This is like the Twilight Zone. How could this be tolerable? In fact, when Georgia pushed back and was it Major League Baseball moved the All-Star game out of Atlanta where it was scheduled to be, I'm thinking, who hijacked the brain, the psyche of the American public so that now we're pursuing this lunacy? Well, fortunately, the lunacy was temporary. America came to its senses, and the people who were guilty of it are being held to account.
Maybe. I mean, I understand the point. I totally understand the point. However, I think what has also happened here is that a number of people who have gone to elite universities have gotten to a point where they think the certification of going to that elite university means that they are superior to everybody else, and that just because they think it is real.
Yeah.
And I think that's a level of deception that at the top levels of many institutions is now being exposed. How long it's going to take to get rid of it? I think maybe a bit of a time to do that.
Well, so this is sort of the epitome of the progressive movement mentality of worshiping science and believing that scientific training makes you better equipped to make decisions than ordinary people.
Worshiping bad science.
And in this case, I think the science was twisted and abused by people who, both for financial gain and because some of these people were just this sort of gender identity ideologues who thought that just like eugenics, that that this is a brave new world that we can impose on humanity. It's kind of a scary thing. But 100 years ago, we were sterilizing people. We went through the same thing with lobotomies.
Yeah. Just ask Joseph P. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Who lobotomized his daughter.
Yeah.
And ruined her life. All right. When we come back, speaking of science, the woman serving on the Supreme Court who can't tell you what a woman is.
She's not a biologist.
I'm not a biologist. Mark Pulliam. The latest from Ketanji Brown Jackson after this.
Ponder this. I was having lunch with a friend who was also interested in learning more about the Catholic faith in order to possibly convert. This friend also shared with me that she hated the President of the United States, Donald Trump. After further discussion, I mentioned to her that you cannot hate another person and be a Christian of any denomination. Hate is incompatible with loving Christ. Hate is not Christian no matter who our neighbor is. Sacred Scripture clearly states that as long as we love one another, God remains in us. The inverse is also true. God cannot be in us if we do not love others, and that means everyone. God gave us two great commandments, to love Him and to love our neighbor. All other commandments flow from these two. Loving our neighbor means loving those who especially are difficult to love. Let's start today by loving those around us that are particularly difficult to love. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
They got a bill going up to allow casino gambling on your phone, not regulated.
They call it iGaming, and it's bad.
You put $10 in, it's gone. This is insane beyond belief.
Leads to loss of jobs, increased gambling addiction, putting families at risk.
How do you regulate it? How does the state tax it? Is it sponsored by the casinos?
No, this is another company that wants casino gambling on your phone in Virginia. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming.
I have no idea why Mamie Locke would introduce such a horrible bill.
This thing is probably going to pass if we don't stop it. Like my head is exploding.
Call 804-698-7400. Tell your senator vote no to iGaming. It's bad. Message paid for by the National Association Against iGaming.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. That's why Virginia's right-to-work law is so popular. Unfortunately, special interest lobbyists in Richmond are seeking to repeal right-to-work in Virginia. With the General Assembly back, it is vital to tell your legislators and Governor Abigail Spanberger to oppose forced unionism and protect right-to-work in Virginia. Sign your petition today at virginiarighttowork.com. That's virginiarighttowork.com. The National Right to Work Committee paid for this ad.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
In studio, all-star panelist Mark Pulliam. So, Mark, the newest Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, the one who couldn't define what a woman is when questioned by Senator Marsha Blackburn, she goes to the Grammy Awards. She was nominated for, I don't know, her biography as an audiobook. I don't know if she won or not. But then you get this Bad Bunny character who goes out and says, "Ice out." And all of the people there were clapping, and she was part of the people clapping. Well, Marsha Blackburn, Senator Blackburn, sent a letter to Chief Justice Roberts to investigate her attendance at the politicized Grammy Awards. Mark, shouldn't she recuse herself from any immigration cases going forward?
She sure should. And on this show, we have frequently made fun of Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, which referred to as KBJ, who was Biden's DEI appointment. She asks dumb questions at oral argument. She writes puerile, non-judicious opinions, and she comports herself in public in an unserious, unprofessional manner. But she outdid herself when she shows up at the Grammys. She had been nominated for narrating an audiobook version of her memoir, which I wasn't even aware that she had written a memoir. But she should have known. She had to have known that the Grammy Awards would be a giant anti-Trump
Of course.
political rally, and it's exactly what they were. The MC was openly mocking the president. All of these people in their acceptance speeches were making anti-ICE
Saying
speeches.
blank ICE.
Land acknowledgments by Billie Eilish. And the worst thing is she's in the audience. She's acknowledged by the MC that she's in the audience. And when people were applauding and giving ovations for these anti-Trump rants,
She was there.
she clapped like
She's
a
clapping.
trained seal
Yeah.
and gave a standing ovation to these people. She was a participant in what amounts to a partisan political rally. And of course, the propaganda press adored what she was doing, and she received all this flattering attention, which is what she wants. These people are narcissists at heart. They want attention. Well, what she should have remembered is that she is a signatory to the Supreme Court Code of Conduct, which requires justices to act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary, and to refrain from doing things that reflect adversely on the justice's impartiality. And if you do not, if your impartiality might reasonably be questioned, that is, where an unbiased and reasonable person who is aware of all the relevant circumstances would doubt that the justice could fairly discharge his or her duties, you have to refrain from hearing a case. You have to recuse herself. So our great Senator, Marsha Blackburn, who at her KBJ's confirmation hearing asked her, could you define what is a woman? And KBJ said, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not a biologist. Well, so Senator Blackburn has now sent a letter to Chief Justice John Roberts to launch an investigation into Justice Jackson's her attendance and participation at the Grammy Awards, with all of the anti-ICE rhetoric from celebrities and artists at the event. And she wants the investigation to focus on whether Justice Jackson's actions violate the High Court's Code of Conduct and would require her to recuse herself from certain cases. Now, this is important in its own right because what she did crossed the line, but also because left-wing groups, ProPublica, other, dark money, oligarch-funded groups have been hounding for years and years Clarence Thomas because he's friends with Trammell Crow, Sam Alito because he took a trip, on a plane with Paul Singer, etc. And they're saying these, Clarence Thomas needs to recuse himself, that Sam Alito needs to recuse himself, and nobody has ever lifted a finger when Ruth Bader Ginsburg was given $1 million prizes from left-wing groups. These justices, Sonia Sotomayor, get multi-million-dollar advances for books that are never going to sell.
Sure,
They're presents, they're gifts, and so I think it's time that we recognize that if we're going to have ethical rules, they have to be applied in an even-handed manner, and she needs to be dealt with seriously and appropriately by the court, because I think she clearly crossed the line, and there have to be consequences when you cross that line.
So here's the thing. She should recuse herself, and here's the reason why. Now, Justice Roberts is going to be loath to say that to her. But the public is going to lose confidence in the Supreme Court.
Well, everybody talks about how Roberts, his paramount consideration is preserving the public image of the court. Well, if he's serious about maintaining the public image of the court, and you have a justice who literally dresses and acts like a clown, performs on off-Broadway things, shows up wearing her, ridiculous sequined glasses at the Grammys, that she's making the court the butt of a joke.
Yeah.
It's becoming a laughingstock. And that, if you take the court seriously, I take the court seriously, if you take our legal system seriously, these judges need to act like judges.
Mark, 1 hour. Gone like that.
Yeah.
Hit some really great topics here.
All
we
right.
will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us today. Up next, Tom Zawistowski with We the People Convention in Ohio. We're going to talk about Bad Bunny, the Kid Rock, the SAVE Act, and all sorts of political things. Back after this.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
It's not that all Somalis are criminal. It's just that 90% of these crimes are being committed by Somali Americans. And if you came to this country and you took advantage of the Americans' generosity, you committed fraud, and you refused to assimilate, you know what? I got 4 words for you. Get the hell out.
Cats and Cosby, 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the John Fredericks Media Network.
The book needs to be thrown at these people.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
This is WJFN, Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFV, Portsmouth.
At Town Hall, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Rideshare drivers for services like Uber and Lyft may soon be required to speak English if their companies want to do business with the federal government. Oklahoma Congressman Josh Brecheen introduced the so-called Uber Act in the U.S. House and says it is gaining momentum on Capitol Hill.
If you are contracting with the federal government and you are a driving company, a Lyft company, Uber company, those type of setup, then you will have to ensure that your drivers know how to read, speak English. We're all aware, whether it be commercial driver's license in states that have allowed drivers to not be able to understand the road signs, yet be driving 85,000-pound rigs. We think if you're a professional driver in this situation, you ought to have the basics of knowing what the road signs are telling you.
The Oklahoma Republicans' legislation seeks to bar non-English speaking drivers from federal contracts. Any ride-share driver can communicate with passengers and clearly understand all traffic laws. Senator Tom Cott says it's hard to negotiate with his colleagues on the other side of the aisle.
Most Democrats are willing to shut down the entire government, and in 2 weeks will be willing to shut down DHS before they would permit funding for immigration enforcement, period.
Democrats are demanding certain changes in the way ICE carries out its enforcement actions. The Seattle Seahawks won Super Bowl 60 last night, marking the team's second Super Bowl win. Here's Andrew Stewart.
Defense became the driving force behind this championship. Seahawks players Devin Witherspoon, Derek Hall, and the rest of Seattle's ferocious defense pummeled New England Patriots quarterback Drake May. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold tossed a touchdown pass to A.J. Barner, while teammate Kenneth Walker III ran for 135 yards. Seahawks kicker Jason Myers set a Super Bowl record by making all 5 of his field goal tries.
That is Andrew Stewart reporting. More from townhall.com.
This President's Day, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Benjamin Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G service. What's up with that? Ben Franklin wasn't even a president. When you switch to Pure Talk, you'll be in business with an American wireless company that supports our vets in a big way and keeps all their customer service in this country. That's important. And You'll be on the same towers the big carriers use, so you'll get the same 5G service without the inflated price. So hang on to your Benjamins and switch to Pure Talk for a Jackson and a Lincoln. No contract, no hidden fees. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll get 50% off your first month when you switch. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, for an American wireless company that is truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Here's Rich Thomas now with the Midday Wall Street Business Report.
A trial focused on whether Meta misrepresented the safety of its platforms when it comes to the dangers of child sexual exploitation is set to start in New Mexico. Opening statements are scheduled for today. It's the first standalone trial from state prosecutors in a stream of lawsuits against major social media companies over harm to youngsters. Kroger has named former Walmart executive Greg Foran its chief executive officer. Foran joins Kroger 11 months after its previous CEO, Rodney McMullen, abruptly resigned following an internal investigation into his personal conduct. Foran led Walmart's U.S. division for 6 years before departing in 2019. While there, he introduced online ordering and pickup and accelerated Walmart's digital capability. I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. A Venezuelan opposition figure has been kidnapped. Correspondent Lawrence Brooks reports that it happened just hours after that person was released from prison.
Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has said one of her closest allies was kidnapped hours after being released from prison. The government released several prominent opposition members from prison Sunday after lengthy politically motivated detentions. One of those was Juan Pablo Guanipa, seen leading a motorcade to a Caracas detention center after his release, where relatives of prisoners had organized vigils. But later, Machado said on social media that Guanipa had been kidnapped around midnight. Guanipa had already spent more than 8 months in custody. Machado said heavily armed men dressed in civilian clothes arrived in 4 vehicles and violently took him away. She added, "We demand his immediate release." I'm Lawrence Brooks.
You'll find more of these stories at Town Hall.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. On the day after the Super Bowl, it is appropriate that we bring in our very good friend from the state of Ohio, kind of the football capital of America, the one, the only Tom Zalestowski, founder of the We the People convention. Tom, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Michael. Glad to be with you guys and hope things are getting a little better in Nashville as far as the power and all that stuff.
So, Tom, Ohio, famous for football. Massillon High School, Paul Brown, Jim Brown, Ohio State, Woody Hayes. I'm guessing you probably played football in high school yourself.
I did indeed.
Linebacker?
Yes, absolutely. How could you tell?
How could
Middle linebacker, actually.
Of course. Middle linebacker, sort of like Sam Huff, right? Yeah.
Guys like Dick Butkus, man.
Dick Butkus.
Yeah, Ray Nitsky, you bet, boy.
So, Tom,
those guys would not have approved of the Super Bowl that was just on, I assure you.
So, Tom, you were the Dick Butkus of Ohio High School, right? Did you go to Akron High School in Ohio?
I did not. I actually played for a school in Pennsylvania called Erie Cathedral Prep.
Oh, that's right, from Erie Cathedral, of course.
Yep. And we had a pretty good football team, and lots of our guys went on to play in the pros and stuff. But it's just so different now, Michael. I mean, I understand it's entertainment and all that, but it's not football. Whatever it is, it's not football. It must be something else that I don't recognize.
So when I was in high school, I went to a couple of high schools, but ended up at Randolph High School near Jamestown. And I was the starting quarterback for 3 years, and we had a really good year my sophomore year. But that was because the fullback was a fellow by the name of Mike Hubbard. the younger brother of Marv Hubbard, the guy who played for the Raiders, right, and was such a great fullback. And this guy was, terrific. And we actually played one high school in Pennsylvania called Eisenhower High School. Probably not too far from Erie. You might even remember Eisenhower High School. It wasn't too far from Erie. We played there.
Because again, a lot of the New York schools had to go to Pennsylvania to play really good competition. That's what the deal was.
That's why we went there. We stomped them every year. So, but they were a good team. So Tom, as a football guy, let's just say, before we get to the Bad Bunny v. Kid Rock thing, I thought it was a dreadfully boring and bad game.
Well, that's the problem we have, is that if you're a football guy, I love defense. I love, really tough football. And I was kind of glad that it wasn't 54-48 or something, because that's what they're selling now. They're selling, again, Michael, you and I played, what's pass interference now, right? How much are they getting to touch the quarterback? I'm sure, Michael, as a quarterback, you were never hit when you were playing in high school, right? Yeah, never once. So to me, I kind of like that better because I love football. I'm not there to be entertained. I'm there to see good fundamentals, tough people doing hard things, and really, man on man, muscle against muscle. And that's not our culture today. Our culture today is we want to see, people running down the field, catching the ball with one hand. If I tried to catch the ball with one hand when I was playing football, I would have been running laps until I dropped.
There you go. Well, I think the ratings are going to be way down because it was a boring game. The defense for Seattle was great. The running back, what's his name, Kenneth Walker III, was terrific.
130 yards.
He was.
Yards.
He's a Tennessean. He's from Tennessee.
Wow.
But really, the offense. Neither offense got going in the first half.
Yeah, New England's defense, you got to give them some credit. They had to kick 5 field goals. In the NFL, that's unprecedented, not to mention the fact that for some reason NFL kickers can't kick field goals. So how the guy actually made 5 is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, but it was a dull game, and it was and my whole sense was that on the offensive, the problem was the offensive line of New England just wasn't up to the task.
Yep.
And Drake May, whose numbers ended up being okay, like he threw for 240 yards, but in the first half he threw for 50 yards. The game was over when he started throwing for garbage time, right? But they couldn't protect him. How many times was he sacked? 6?
Think about that. I think maybe 7. I think it was a record 7.
The 7. It would have been. I think it was a record 7. Could have been 8. The last sack was counted as an interception. Where the guy he went to throw the ball.
That was a great play. That was an amazing interception.
The Seattle guy grabbed it in midair and then ran for a touch. It's like it was a blowout. It really was. And Drake May's a good kid, but even a good kid with no offensive line and a huge pressure, going to be in trouble. Having said
that's what makes football what it is, Michael. That's why you and I played it, because it is the ultimate team sport.
Mm-hmm.
In basketball, you can have this one player who can dominate everybody in the court. You can't do that in football. As good as Tom Brady was, he had some pretty great players around to win those Super Bowls.
He did.
And if he didn't, he wouldn't have won those Super Bowls. And that's what the appeal of football is. That's why it's America's game, because what is it about? It's about the values that America is built on: hard work, mental discipline, never giving up, pulling together, picking each other up, overcoming obstacles. That's why the left hates it. That's why they want to debase it with the kind of halftime nonsense they did and all the other stuff around it. They hate football. They tried to kill football with Title IX, Michael. You know that.
Yeah.
Why? Because it is what builds men. Okay. And then it was the concussion protocols and all that stuff. And there's serious things about concussions. Like you and I probably, based on what we've done the rest of our lives, probably had some concussions.
I'll tell you a funny story. So when I got out of high school, I thought I would be like an all Ivy player at Harvard. right? So I go to Harvard, and I'm a fourth-string running back. Okay. I'm a fourth-string running back for the freshman team because they had freshmen in, varsity at that time. Yeah. And I remember thinking the following. When the offensive linemen were faster than I was and bigger, I thought...
You need to find another sport.
Exactly. I thought, I think I need to find another sport because my knee is going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. And so I only played, 1 year. 2 carries, 2 yards. Very impressive, right? But as it turns out, I wasn't protecting my knee. I was protecting my head. How about that? Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But those are the same thing I'm talking about. Lessons learned by football, right? Good decision making. What are my limitations? What should I do with my life? Football's a great sport. I'm sad that they destroyed it, and I really don't like what they've done at the college level.
Yeah, but also let's talk about. Did you watch the halftime show at all with Bad Bunny?
Are you kidding me?
No, you didn't. Did you flip?
If you had a gun to my head, I wouldn't watch that garbage.
Did you watch the Turning Point USA Alternative?
I did watch some of that. Yeah, it was good. That was excellent.
Good. There were like 25 million people that watched that, which was really good.
Think about that.
Yeah.
25 million is a number, baby. That's a big number. And again, my son was making fun of me because I said, you're old when it's the 60th Super Bowl and you've seen them all.
Which I have as well. Yeah. Tom, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of politics. I'm going to wrap up Bad Bunny with what he actually said, which is awful. Yes. But then we'll go into talk about the SAVE Act. Back with Tom Zastowski after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right. and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, TIREGET.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Tom Zalesowski, founder of the We the People Convention. Tom, I just looked at the English translation of what Bad Bunny's songs were entailed yesterday. This is pornographic stuff. I mean, this is vile. And most of his language most of it was in Spanish. Here's one question for you. After the performance, Roger Goodell was seen giving Bad Bunny a big hug and congratulating him on his performance, using all these vile words. What's the deal with Roger Goodell, in your view, Tom Zalesowski?
Well, I think Roger Goodell is woke as a joke. I mean, we saw that during the Black Lives Matter nonsense. When we were begging, NFL owners to give their players the book War on Cops by Kimberly Strassel that completely blew up and proved wrong that Black Lives Matter was a real thing. And they wouldn't do it. They wanted to, kneel, and they wanted to put stuff in the end zones. And didn't the Washington Post say the most important person at the game yesterday was Colin Kaepernick? He's woke as a joke. But hey, Michael, here's the real deal. Roger Goodell wouldn't even exist if the NFL didn't have what's called a legal monopoly, where they have these special rights that are only given, by our society to supposedly critical, infrastructure, right? You wouldn't embarrass the American people. You wouldn't subject us to that garbage if you actually could lose your franchises or have competition. This is what happens, folks, when you give legal monopolies. You get bad things, and that's what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to something positive. Let's talk about the SAVE Act. We have this clip here, Tom, from Donald Trump in part of the interview, I think, that may have aired on Sunday on NBC, talking about the SAVE Act. Let's play that right now, clip 8.
Well, we're working on the Save America Act, which is going to secure up a lot of things, but secure up our voting. I think people would like to do it, and I think Democrats would too. When you go to voter ID and you ask Democrats, it's polling at 82% with Democrats. I'm not talking about Democrat politicians. I'm talking about Democrats. We have to do something about our voting. We need strong borders. We need a fair press, which we don't have. And very importantly, we need the strong border, the fair press, and we need fair elections. We need elections where people aren't able to cheat. And we're going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to get it done. And by the way, it polls, even with Democrats, they want that.
Your thoughts, Tom Pappert, on the SAVE Act. Where do we stand on the SAVE Act?
Well, this is what's so disturbing to me, and I think probably to you, Michael. I mean, the polling's unbelievable. I mean, it doesn't matter by race, by party, by age. It's an 80-20 issue. So why won't Thune bring it up? Why won't the Republicans, have what's that called, the standing filibuster, where the Democrats can't, filibuster it and get this to a vote? Why won't the Democrats vote for it when their people want it? There's only one answer, Michael. The only reason you wouldn't want voter ID is if you're cheating. There's no other answer.
Yeah.
So we've got to get it passed. I'm asking your listeners to call your senators, not just today, every day this week. You call them every day. And I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican. You call them every day this week and say, we Americans demand you protect our elections and pass the SAVE Act. We must get this done, Michael, no matter what.
Yeah, because if we don't, the 2026 midterm elections will be, I think, yielding deceptive results, because the hardcore Democrats in California and Virginia are blatantly gerrymandering, and the Republicans in Indiana and even in Ohio are kind of not responding. Your thoughts on that, Tom Zalestowski?
That's exactly right. This shows you the disconnect between both political parties and we, the people, the voters. And so we can't remember when they said, oh, you could never get Tulsi Gabbard confirmed. They'll never confirm Pete Hegseth. They'll never pass the big, beautiful bill. How did those pass, Michael? They passed because we wouldn't allow it. We would not allow them to sandbag us. This is the most important thing that any of your listeners can do for our country and for themselves right now. Call your senators every day until they pass this, because I don't want to wake up ever again in another election and say, oh, I got to wait weeks for it to come in. And geez, it looks like it wasn't what we thought it was. I'm done with that. Let's have elections. In Japan, they just had as many people vote for the president of Japan last week, and they have as many voters as California, and all the results were known that day. How come the Japanese can do it? We can't.
Well, yeah, it's not just the French can do it. The French.
Wait, whoa. Hold on now. Hold on.
Oh, la la.
That's scary.
I know.
That's scary. But we've got to do it. And it just makes you wonder, why would Republicans not do it? What are there, 7 or 8 Republicans that are still holding out? Why?
Well, maybe they're listening to your former governor, John Kasich. Did you see what he has to say? He praised the Bad Bunny halftime show. You saw that?
What a moron. You talk about a guy that is despised here in Ohio. Oh, it's just sad. It's sad to watch people who are just such phonies, such frauds, right? He always pretends he's a Republican. He wasn't a Republican when he was in office. And this is our problem. We've met the enemy. It's us. And unfortunately, we, the people, are still struggling to get out from under that. And the SAVE Act will allow us to throw more of these people out, because our votes will all count more.
So help me out with this. What is wrong with Ohio Republican politicians? So you've got Kasich, who ran the Kasich Mafia up there for a long, and still there are remnants there of it in the state capital. And then John Boehner, right? I mean, these guys.
Mr. Marijuana.
Yeah, Mr. Marijuana. These guys stand for nothing but their own continuation of power. What's going on? Is it the Cuyahoga River? What's the problem with? Is it the water up there? How is it that Ohio, which has been, the bellwether state in the country for 200 years of our existence, how is it that Ohio has so many weak Republican or quasi-Republican political officials?
This is a lesson for people in states like yours, like Tennessee, like Texas, like Florida, where all these, in-migration is happening and you're kind of changing. What happened to Ohio was we just got too much government. And a big part of it was unionization. The unions in Ohio figured out a long time ago it's too expensive to have a Democratic Party, and they're a pain in the butt anyway because they got all these wacky ideas. We don't care about supporting the Democrats. We're just going to buy Republicans and get them to do what we want. And that's what just happened 2 years ago in our House, where we, the people, elected the biggest supermajority of Republicans ever in the Ohio House. And within a month of the election, 22 of them defected, took money from the union school lobby, and voted for a House Speaker who was a Democrat, so they would do nothing we voted for. That's how it's done here in Ohio. And that's what happened. They're all corrupted because they're all bought. And what Vivek Ramaswamy represents to us, we've talked about on your show before, as governor, is the first guy to break that mold. Why? Because he's like Trump. He doesn't need him. He can pay for his own election. He didn't come up through the system, and we're just working like heck to elect Vivek Ramaswamy so we can get rid of the Columbus cartel.
Yeah, and your primary there is what, May?
Yeah, May 5th. Yeah,
May 5th. He doesn't have any Republican primary challenger, does he?
Oh, he does. He actually has like 4.
No,
Yeah.
really. Who are the challengers?
There's a guy named. Oh, there's again. The cartel does not want Vivek Ramaswamy to win because everything they've got they would lose. Vivek wants to doge Ohio. He wants to cut programs. He wants government efficiency. Well, nobody in Columbus wants that. They're living fat and happy.
Yeah.
Our state budget is like $100 billion, and their states our size that are half that. So
Tom,
Vivek's a real threat.
Are there any of those 4 challengers that are serious, credible?
No. There's one guy who's being put up by them, I think, by Kasich and his people, who's just there to destroy, Vivek's reputation. He's not. We've pretty much exposed him and all. I won't even say his name. We've exposed him already. Vivek's going to win, and then we're going to go, and Amy Acton, the Democrat, will be his opponent.
Is Amy Acton going to win the Democrat primary?
I believe she is. Yeah.
Does anybody take her seriously? Apparently they do. I mean, I don't know.
Well, again, this is the thing about our modern day politics. Yeah. I mean, does anybody take Maxine Waters seriously? But she keeps winning all the time. So that's our problem. They're going to spend $50 million lying about Amy Acton. You don't even know who the hell Amy Acton is.
Yeah, good point. Tom Zalestowski, the founder and chairman of the We the People Convention in Ohio. Tom, thanks for joining us today. Excellent analysis, as always.
Pleasure. Thanks, man. Have a good week now.
All right. When we come back, the real Zoran Mamdani revealed himself. Back after this.
EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, I want to talk a little bit about Zoran Mamdani, the 30-something Ugandan-born recent American citizen who was elected mayor of New York City when he got the vote of, 36% of the voters there, foreign-born. The guy is an Islamist, no question about it. And you can tell that as the mayor, with this big winter storm that came on, did he focus at all on snow removal, picking up the garbage, or making sure that the homeless people out there didn't die? No, he did not. Didn't get any of that done. Instead, he delivered what really amounts to similar to a sermon from an imam of Muslim ideology and theology about the importance of more migration, because that's what Islam is all about. Let's play this clip right now. Clip number 21.
I think of the freedom from suffering that Buddhism teaches us is only possible if we remove the three poisons of desire, hatred, and ignorance from our daily lives. We need not accept suffering as unchangeable. We need not treat hatred as the natural state. We have the power to set ourselves free. And I consider my own faith, Islam, a religion built upon a narrative of migration. The story of the Hijrah reminds us that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a stranger too, who fled Mecca and was welcomed in Medina. Surah An-Nahl 1642 tells us, "As for those who immigrated in the cause of Allah after being persecuted, we will surely bless them with a good home in this world." Or as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange. So glad tidings to the strangers." If faith offers us the moral compass to stand alongside the stranger, government can provide the resources. Let us create a new expectation of City Hall, where power is wielded to love, to embrace, and to protect. We will stand with the stranger today.
No. What's he mean? What he means is, if you're from a foreign country and you hate America, we want you here in New York City and we'll protect you. That's what he means. And so this is, another blue city gone crazy, but a particularly dangerous situation. Where are we as a country? Well, the President Donald Trump won 3 times. His most recent time, he actually was inaugurated, and he ran on 2 platforms. Number 1, closing the border. He succeeded in that. Number 2, getting rid of the 20 million illegal aliens in the country, maybe more than that. And that's been a bigger challenge because folks that have bought into this anti-American claptrap that Zoran Mamdani pushes. There are more of those folks, and they have a platform. You got him in New York. You've got the Jacob Fry in Minneapolis. You got the mayor of Seattle. The woman who can't make a living but who lives off her parents and became the mayor of Seattle. Karen Bass, the mayor in Los Angeles. The guy in Portland. Michelle Wu, the mayor in Boston. Have you seen a trend here? If you hate America, you basically get elected to power in a blue city, and you try to turn that blue city into a third world blank hole. That's what you do. Okay, so another Democrat who hates America and went out and said it is this Congressman Wu, W-U. I don't remember if he's from California or Texas. I think maybe he's from California. It doesn't matter. But he hates white America. Here we go. Clip 16. Let's see that.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about this.
We can take over America. What's that mean? It means they will reject the rule of law upon which this country was based. And you know, this is a big problem. A growing number, not a majority, but a growing number of people believe that. We've seen it actually in terms of some of the competitors at the Olympics. Some of them have gone up and trashed America. These are kind of, you know, the guilty white liberal crowd, right? You have some skiers that did that. Yeah, but here's an Olympian who has a very different view and is proud to be representing the United States of America. Let's play this clip 3.
How does it feel to represent your country like this?
It feels amazing. I love representing the U.S. I freaking love living there. I love it, and I'm so happy I get to represent USA.
Love that. And that was actually in 2020. I think she's still around, and I think she still feels that way. Not everybody believes that to be the case, however, and that's a bit of a problem, isn't it? All right, let's go and take a look at, we've got a couple of little breaking news stories that I want to talk about. One has to do with this is the breaking story. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell, you know who she is. She was convicted of sex trafficking and being a pimp, in essence, for Jeffrey Epstein. Breaking story from German-owned Politico. Headline, Ghislaine Maxwell pleads the fifth in House Oversight Epstein investigation. In a virtual deposition, Maxwell's attorneys said his clients still sought clemency in exchange for testifying freely. Yeah, not going to happen. I know that's a positioning. This is by Haley Fuchs, just published about an hour and a half ago. The congressional investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein hit its latest snag Monday morning when Epstein's longtime associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, declined to answer questions in a sworn deposition. Maxwell, now serving a 20-year sentence for her part in Epstein's sex trafficking scheme, invoked her Fifth Amendment right over video from a prison camp in Texas months after she had been subpoenaed by the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. In a copy of Maxwell's lawyer's opening statement obtained by Politico, German-owned Politico, David Oscar Marcus reiterated that grant of clemency would facilitate her testimony, a power only President Trump can bestow. He has not ruled out issuing a pardon. Mr. President, don't do it. That's my advice. Only she can provide, here's a quote from the attorney, quote, only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like what they hear, but the truth matters. For example, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Ms. Maxwell alone can explain why, and the public is entitled to that explanation. Really? I mean, this is just a ploy, it seems to me, to get out of prison in return for what? Supposedly telling the truth? Who knows? The attorney also noted that Maxwell's legal proceedings are still ongoing. Quote, Democrats accused Maxwell of using the deposition as part of a campaign for clemency from Trump, while House Oversight Chair James Comer told reporters he did not believe Maxwell should be granted clemency. Well, look, I agree with Congressman Coomer. Quote, unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions that would be very important in this investigation, and she chose to invoke her Fifth Amendment right. Okay, so what the Fifth Amendment says that you cannot testify if you believe that testimony might incriminate you and might subject you to future criminal charges. I'll continue with the Politico story. Rank and file members of the panel who shuffled into the deposition room Monday for Maxwell's questioning included Andy Biggs of Arizona and Raja Krishnamurthy. Let me get that name again. No, I didn't get that. Raja Krishnamurthy. He's a Democrat from Illinois. I wonder where Raja was born. I don't think he was born in Illinois, but we'll see. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, said he intended to view the unredacted Epstein files from the Justice Department on Monday afternoon. He also noted he would be joined by, wait for it, Representative Thomas Massey, Republican from Kentucky. And basically they led that effort to force a floor vote on the release of the files. Well, what's going on with that? Look, I think it would be a very, very bad move for the president to go ahead and grant her clemency. I think that is a very, very bad idea. And look, I don't think she's trustworthy. Look, she already got this special. They moved her from one prison to a nicer prison, if you say that. They've already given her a concession. She's been convicted of this crime. It's a pretty bad crime. Now, one guy who's not paid a criminal penalty for this yet is former Prince Andrew, who now goes by what? Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. But he's been removed as a prince. He's the younger brother of Charles III. And there is an image in these files of apparently Virginia Joffrey, the young girl who committed suicide. She became, this was 20 years ago, she was a young girl. But she was like 14, 15, something like that, when she was, quote, trafficked by Epstein. And there's a picture of her lying on the floor. And Prince Andrew is kind of, the picture had apparently been verified. Prince Andrew kind of leering over her, like in a very weird sort of way. They've asked him to come and testify here. And Prime Minister Starmer has said, you should testify in the U.S. House. The guy that Starmer appointed to be the ambassador to the United States from the United Kingdom was apparently involved in a very unpleasant way in some of these Epstein files. Look, I think what's going on here is Ghislaine Maxwell is kind of looking for leverage. We shouldn't give it to her. Nobody should be pardoned in this, and just let it all play out. So there you go. Hey, when we come back, folks, guess what? It'll be time for News Potpourri. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com, TennesseeStar.com. We'll be back after this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Solti for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Solti and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Solti, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Solti
bone and joint
today.
health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, folks, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. I just love that music. News Potpourri. This is a portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. CBS News is in the news again. Remember Catherine Herridge? She was with Fox News for a long time, and then she went to CBS News, and then she left CBS, and they kind of were not very nice in the way they got rid of her. And now she's an independent journalist. Here's a breaking story from Catherine Herridge. In a breaking revelation, CBS investigative journalist Catherine Herridge has gone public with explosive allegations. Here's a quote. CBS executives deliberately buried the Hunter Biden laptop story and ordered her to wait until after the 2022 midterms to help the Democrat Party. Well, I'm not surprised by that at all. And they're still doing it. I mean, the regime media is still doing it. Supposedly, Barry Weiss now taking over CBS News, and they're getting away from that. But I watched Disgrace the Nation the other day with Margaret Brennan, and they were still doing that kind of junk. Still, biased reporting. Terrible. Hey, you want to hear this? So we went over earlier the very nasty Spanish language lyrics that Bad Bunny used in that NFL halftime show. Well, guess what? We got this clip. This is a grandmother who was watching it. We're going to play the clip. She did not like it at all. Let's get her reaction to Bad Bunny's halftime show.
like, who is this man? Golly. He can't sing. I mean, like, what is this? Golly. This is ridiculous. And got the American flag and all these other flags. And yeah, God bless you too. Get off the stage. Please get off the stage. Get off. Put the game back on. I can't stand this. Tell me that. I mean, what in the world is all this foolishness? Thank you. Get off the stage, please. Jesus.
Oh, that was funny. That was a grandmother. Somebody taped her as she was watching the show. Get off the stage, please. Hey, this is another interesting story. So Pete Hegseth went to a meeting in Rhode Island. I think it's like early this morning. And it was like a bunch of trade guys. And the audience went wild when he said, no more dudes in dresses. Oh, they went crazy. That was really good. Hey, this is another fun thing. There are more than 500 private jets that left San Francisco after the Super Bowl. How about that? Yeah, they're all, carbon friendly. I don't think so. That is really, really weird. What else do we have going on? Okay, the Savannah Guthrie thing. It's a weird story, isn't it? Her mom, Nancy Guthrie, 9 days ago was kidnapped. And they're getting all these, supposed notes from the, maybe from the people that had kidnapped her, maybe. They've said the most recent statement from Savannah Guthrie says, we will pay. I don't know. Look, I don't think this is going to have a good outcome. I'm sorry to say. And we certainly pray for Nancy Guthrie and the family. But the paying when you don't have proof of life, look, back in medieval times, what they used to do to get money is they would kidnap the family of royalty. And they basically, this was all about getting money. This would be a bad precedent if they pay. I think the odds are if they make the payment, again, I'm not an expert on this. I'm just giving you my reaction. They make the payment, they may still never see their mother. And then somebody else will go, hey, they made money. Let me do that. Anyways, we pray for the safe return of Nancy Guthrie. But it doesn't look good. All right, what else? Here's a story. Natalie Winters, she's a kind of the occasional guest host on Bannon's show. Headline: Mayorkas, former Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, born in Cuba, by the way, secretly lands at think tank, taking millions from foreign governments, Soros, and the Chinese Communist Party spy networks. She says, this isn't retirement, it's the reward. Former DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas has quietly taken a role as a visiting scholar at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, an institution long entangled with Chinese influence networks, foreign government funding, and open borders activism. So that's not a surprise. That guy, although he was impeached by the House, the Senate never even looked at it. Not a good thing at all. What else do we have going on? Oh, the stock market. The stock market crossed 50,000. Trump says it's going to be over 100,000 before he leaves office. I don't know. Is that the salesman speaking? Might be. Oh, here's one. A local television story. I don't like where this is going. And I don't like what the president's done on this. He said, this is the Nexstar Media, which owns like 100 local television stations, and The Hill and News Nation. They want to merge with Tegna, which owns like 60 local television stations. Local television stations are awful. They're all owned by these large conglomerates. And now putting these two together, it's going to make local journalism even worse than it is, we are the only bastion of truth and justice and investigative journalism in Middle Tennessee. And this merger is not going to help it. All right, there you go. That's our show for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
FlatFeeNashville.com, FlatFeeNashville.com.